Hi guys, it's time for dinner. We're on Exodus 20. And Elohim spoke all these words, saying, I am Jehovah, your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Mizraim, out of the house of slavery. You have no other mighty ones against my face. You do not make for yourself a carved image, or any likeness of that which is in the heavens above, or which is in the earth beneath, or which is in the waters under the earth. You do not bow down to them, nor serve them. For I, Jehovah, your Elohim, am a jealous El, visiting the crookedness of the fathers on the children to the third and fourth generations of those who hate me, but showing loving commitment to thousands, to those who love me and guard my commands. You do not bring the name of Jehovah, your Elohim, to naught, for Jehovah does not leave the one unpunished who brings his name to naught. Remember the Sabbath day to set it apart. 6 days you labor and shall do all your work, but the seventh day is a Sabbath of Jehovah, your Elohim. You do not do any work, you, nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your male servant, nor your female servant, nor your cattle, nor your stranger who is within your gates. For in 6 days Jehovah made the heavens and the earth, the sea and all that is in them, and rested the seventh day. Therefore Jehovah blessed the Sabbath day and set it apart. Respect your father and your mother, so that your days are prolonged upon the soil which Jehovah your Elohim is giving you. You do not murder, you do not commit adultery, you do not steal, you do not bear false witness against your neighbor. You do not covet your neighbor's house, you do not covet your neighbor's wife, nor his male servant, nor his female servant, nor his ox, nor his donkey, or whatever belongs to your neighbor. All the people saw the thunders, the lightning flashes, the voice of the shofar, and the mountains smoking. And the people saw it, and they trembled and stood at a distance, and said to Moshe, You speak with us, and we hear, but let not Elohim speak with us, lest we die. And Moshe said to the people, Do not fear, for Elohim has come to prove you, and in order that his fear be before you, so that you do not sin. So the people stood at a distance, but Moshe drew near the thick darkness where Elohim was. And Jehovah said to Moshe, Say this to the children of Yisrael, You yourselves have seen that I have spoken to you from the heavens. You do not make besides me mighty ones of silver, or you do not make mighty ones of gold for yourselves. Make a slaughter place of earth for me, and you shall slaughter on it your ascending offerings and your peace offerings, your sheep and your cattle, in every place where I came, my name to be where I cause my name to be remembered, and I shall come to you and bless you. And if you make me a slaughter place of stone, do not build it of cut stones, for if you use your chisel on it, you have profaned it. Nor do you go up by steps to my slaughter place, lest your nakedness be exposed on it. These are the right rulings which you are to set before them. When you buy a Hebrew servant, he serves 6 years, and in the 7th he goes out free, for naught. If he comes in by himself, he goes out by himself. If he comes in married, then his wife shall go out with him. If his master has given him a wife, and she has borne him sons or daughters, The wife and her children are her master's, and he goes out by himself. And if the servant truly says, I love my master, my wife and my children, let me not go out free, then his master shall bring him before Elohim, and shall bring him to the door, or to the doorpost, and his master shall pierce his ear with an owl, and he shall serve him forever. And when a man sells his daughter to be a female servant, she does not go out as the male servants do. If she is displeasing in the eyes of her master, who has enraged her to himself, then he shall let her be ransomed. He shall have no authority to sell her to a foreign people because of him deceiving her. And if he has enraged her to his son, he is to do to her as is the right of daughters. If he takes another wife, her food, her covering, and her marriage rights are not to be diminished. And if he does not do these three for her, then she shall go out for naught without silver. He who strikes a man so that he dies shall certainly be put to death. But if he did not lie in wait, but Elohim delivered him into their hands, then I shall appoint for you a place where he is to flee. But when a man acts presumptuously against his neighbor, to kill him by treachery, you are to take him even from my slaughter place to die. And he who strikes his father or his mother shall certainly be put to death. And he who kidnaps a man and sells him, or if he is found in his hand, shall certainly be put to death. And he who curses his father or his mother shall certainly be put to death. And when men strive together, and one strikes the other with a stone or with his fist, and he does not die, but is confined to his bed, if he rises again and walks about outside with his staff, then he who struck him shall be innocent. He only pays for lost time and sees to it that he is completely healed. And when a man strikes his male or female servant with a rod, so that he dies under his hand, he shall certainly be punished. But if he remains alive a day or two, he is not punished, for he is his property. And when men strive, and they shall smite a pregnant woman, and her children come out, yet there is no injury, he shall certainly be punished according as the woman's husband lays upon him, and he shall give through the judges. But if there is injury, then you shall give life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot, burn for burn, wound for wound, lash for lash. And when a man strikes the eye of his male or female servant and destroys it, he is to let him go free for the sake of his eye. And if he knocks out the tooth of his male or female servant, he is to let him go free for the sake of his tooth. And when an ox gores a man or a woman to death, then the ox shall certainly be stoned, and its flesh is not eaten, and the owner of the ox is innocent. However, if the ox was previously in the habit of goring, and its owner has been warned, and he has not kept it confined, so that it has killed a man or a woman, the ox is stoned, and its owner also is put to death. If a sin covering is laid upon him, then he shall give the ransom of his life, whatever is laid on him, whether it has gored a son or gored a daughter, according to this right ruling, it is done to him. If the ox gores a male or female servant, he is to give to their master 30 shekels of silver, and the ox is stoned. And when a man opens a pit, or if a man digs a pit and does not cover it, and an ox or donkey falls in it, the owner of the pit is to repay. He is to give silver to the owner, and the dead beast is his. And when the ox of a man smites the ox of his neighbors, and it dies, then they shall sell the live ox and divide the silver from it, and also divide the dead ox. Or if it was known that the ox was previously in the habit of goring, and its owner has not kept it confined, he shall certainly repay ox for ox, while the dead beast is his. When a man steals an ox or a sheep, and shall slaughter it or sell it, he repays 5 cattle for an ox and 4 sheep for a sheep. If the thief is found breaking in, and he is struck so that he dies, there is no guilt for his blood shed. If the sun is risen on him, there is guilt for his blood shed. He shall certainly repay. If he has not the means, then he shall be sold for his theft. And if the theft is indeed found alive in his hand, whether it is an ox or donkey or sheep, he repays double. When a man lets a field or vineyard be grazed bare, and lets loose livestock, and it feeds in another man's field, he repays from the best of his own field and the best of his own vineyard. When the fire breaks out and spreads to thorn bushes, so that stacked grain or standing grain or the fields is consumed, he who kindled the fire shall certainly repay. When a man gives silver or gold to his neighbor to guard, and it is stolen out of the man's house, if the thief is found, he repays double. If the thief is not found, then the master of the house shall be brought before Elohim, to see whether he has put his hand into his neighbor's goods. For every matter of transgression, for ox, for donkey, for sheep, for garment, or for whatever is lost, which another claims to be his, let the matter of them both come before Elohim, and whomever Elohim declares wrong repays double to his neighbor. When a man gives to his neighbor a donkey or ox or a sheep or any beast to watch over, and it dies, or is injured, or is driven away while no one is looking, let an oath of Jehovah be between them, both that he has not put his hand into his neighbor's goods, and the owner of it shall accept that, and he does not repay. But if it is indeed stolen from him, he repays it to its owner. For it is torn to pieces. Then let him bring it for evidence. He does not repay what is torn. And when a man borrows from his neighbor, and it is injured or dies, while the owner of it is not present, he shall certainly repay. But if its owner was with it, he does not repay. If it was hired, he is entitled to the hire. And when a man entices a maiden who is not engaged, and lies with her, he shall certainly pay the bride price for her to be his wife. If her father absolutely refuses to give her to him, he pays according to the bride price of maidens. Do not allow a practicer of witchcraft to live. Anyone lying with a beast shall certainly be put to death. He who slaughters to an Elohim except to Jehovah only is put under the ban. Do not tread down a sojourner or oppress him, for you are sojourners in the land of Mizraim. Do not afflict any widow or fatherless child. If you do afflict them at all, if they cry out to me at all, I shall certainly hear their cry. And my wrath shall burn, and I shall kill you with the sword. Your wives shall be widows, and your children fatherless. If you do not lend silver to any of my people, the poor among you, you are not to be like one that lends on interest to him. Do not lay interest on him. If you take your neighbor's garment as a pledge at all, you are to return it to him before the sun goes down. For that is the only covering, It is his garment for his skin. What does he sleep in? And it shall be that when he cries to me, I shall hear, and I show favor. Do not revile an Elohim, nor curse a ruler of your people. Do not delay giving your harvest and your vintage. Give me the firstborn of your sons. Likewise, you are to do with your oxen, with your sheep. It is to be with its mother 7 days. On the 8th day you give it to me. And you are set apart men to me, and you do not eat any meat which is torn to pieces in the field. You throw it to the dogs. Do not bring a false report. Do not put your hand with the wrong to be a malicious witness. Do not follow a crowd to do evil, nor bear witness in a strife, so as to turn aside as many, to turn aside what is right. And do not favor a poor man in his strife. When you meet your enemy's ox or his donkey going astray, you shall certainly return it to him. When you see the donkey of him who hates you lying under its burden, you shall refrain from leaving it to him. You shall certainly help him. Do not turn aside the right ruling of your poor in his strife. Keep yourself far from false matter, and do not kill the innocent and the righteous, for I do not declare the wrong right. And do not take a bribe, for a bribe blinds the seeing one and twists the words of the righteous. And do not oppress a sojourner, as you yourselves know the heart of a sojourner, because you were sojourners in the land of Mizraim. And for 6 years you are to sow your land, and shall gather its increase. But the 7th year you are to let it rest, and shall leave it, and the poor of your people shall eat. And what they leave, the beasts of the field eat. Do the same with your vineyard and your olive yard. 6 days you are to do your work, and on the 7th day you rest, in order that your ox and your donkey might rest, and the son of your female servant and the sojourner be refreshed. And in all that I have said to you take heed, and make no mention of the name of the other mighty ones. Let it not be heard in your mouth. 3 times in the year you are to celebrate a festival to me. Guard the festival of Matzot. 7 days you eat unleavened bread, as I commanded you at the time appointed in the new moon of Abib. For in it you came out of Mizraim, and do not appear before me empty-handed. And the festival of the harvest, the first fruits of your labors, which you have sown in the field, and the festivals of the ingathering at the outgoing of the year, when you have gathered in the fruit of your labors from the field. 3 times in a year all your males are to appear to me, appear before the Master Jehovah. Do not slaughter the blood of my slaughtering with leavened bread, and the fat of my festival shall not remain until morning. Bring the first of the first fruits of your land into the house of Jehovah, your Elohim. Do not cook a young goat in its mother's milk. See, I am sending a messenger before you to guard you in the way, and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Be on guard before him and obey his voice. Do not rebel against him, for he is not going to pardon your transgression. For my name is in him. But if you diligently obey his voice, and shall do all that I speak, then I shall be an enemy to your enemies, and a distresser to those who distress you. For my messengers shall go before you, and shall bring you into the Amorites, and the Hittites, and the Perizzites, and the Canaanites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, and I shall cut them off. Do not bow down to their mighty ones, nor serve them, nor do according to their works, but without fail overthrow them, and without fail break down their pillars. And you shall serve Jehovah your Elohim, and he shall bless your bread and your water. And I shall remove sickness from your midst. None shall miscarry or be barren in your land. I shall fill the number of your days. I shall send my fear before you, and cause confusion among all the people to whom you come, and make all your enemies turn their backs to you. And I shall send hornets before you, which shall drive out the Hivites, and the Canaanites, and the Hittites from before you. I shall not drive them out from before you in 1 year, lest the land be a waste, and the beasts of the field become too numerous for you. Little by little I shall drive them out before you, until you have increased, and you inherit the land. And I shall set your border from the Sea of Reeds to the Sea of the Philistines, and from the wilderness to the river, for I shall give the inhabitants of the land into your hand, and you shall drive them out before you. Do not make a covenant with them, nor with their mighty ones. Let them not dwell in your land, lest they make you sin against me when you serve their mighty ones, when it becomes a snare to you.